with our Commissioner Status Update meeting. Today's date is March 17th, 2026. The time is 10 a.m. In attendance are Commissioners Eberline, Duncan, and Matari. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Are there any changes to the agenda? Hearing none. Public comment. Anyone wish to speak? Hearing none, we'll go into our first business item. Assessor's Sympatico software update. It's a discussion item, and Ben Crotinger.
Good morning, Commissioners. Chief Deputy Assessor Ben Crotinger for the record. Just wanted to make a quick update from the last status update meeting we had a couple weeks ago. We sent out an email about this so everyone is aware, but we officially finished testing and handed off Sympatico on the 9th of last week. So just wanted to give an update to that since I believe you said, we said 2 weeks from that day, and we did it in, I believe, like around 6 days. So just an update on that. That's all.
That's it. Anything else?
That's it. Nope. Just wanted to update.
Any questions? No. All right. Thank you. Next up, item 2, 911 Center cost and funding update. It's a discussion item. Commissioner Duncan.
Yes, I'm going to actually turn it over to the Jeffs, Lieutenant Howard, and our Building and Grounds Director, Jeff Oler.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is just to talk about kind of where we are at with the building and the position that we're in. Back in November, we had come to you guys explaining the need for a new 911 center. At that time, you had granted us the authority and ability to contract with Corey Trapp, LTA, to get some plans drawn up. We have those plans are done. And then we have some numbers to present to you, as well as infrastructure and building costs. We have a presentation for you today on that. First, we want to talk about exactly why we're looking to build a new 911 center, just as, again, as an update to you. Our proposed location and the initial drawings. We have some cost estimates for the building, as well as infrastructure upgrades and costs. And then we have, I've been working with Motorola about this build, and they are offering us some discounts by doing some needed upgrades all at once. So, all good news.
So I'm going to review a little bit of what we presented a couple weeks ago. This was the information from Corey Trapp. The proposed location for the 911 center, if we do a new center, would be considering at the OEM location. You can see the existing OEM building. We would basically duplicate the building, drop that down in the area and blue to do that. And then you can see where we would propose putting the communication tower on the right-hand side there. We presented some of the numbers just kind of in basic concept for you at that meeting a couple weeks ago. I'm just going to go a little more into depth with that for a little bit more of a public-facing presentation on this. This is what the concept could look like that Corey presented for us with duplicating that. On the main floor, you have 9,000 square feet. You have the dispatch center, which would be near the command center of OEM. So there'd be connectivity in the case of a big emergency where you've got 911 operating with OEM. And then the version on the left is just kind of a blown up view of the floor plan, not the site plan on the right. So you can kind of see what a concept layout would look like from offices for coordinating, training room, and dispatch center. This is what the basement would look like. It would be a 6,000 square foot basement, and it would just be over the area of offices with crawl space access to run all the infrastructure under for all the command center units in the main operating area there. As far as cost estimates, I'll go over construction costs. Again, this is just kind of a summary, but put into a graphic form for people to see. Building construction, we estimate to be about $6.5 million. We'd carry around a $280,000 contingency for that. Soft costs for permits and fees would be around $170,000, and then architect, engineering, and design, when we go to full plans, would be around $600,000. We would propose $125,000 in special fees. FF&E allowance for furnishers, that's a lot of the high-end desks and things that we need for the call center of $500,000. We have some quotes to support that. And then the tower of $250,000. So we're looking at approximately $8.5 million would be our rough estimate for the center in terms of construction costs. Jeff's going to go a little bit more into the detail of kind of some of the future costs and some of the very specific 911 center connection fees.
Yeah, so one of the questions that has been asked to me is why it's important to start moving now. And in the past, we've ran into the issues in the county of putting projects off. I believe Commissioner Eberlein, you had talked about the jail and then the cost for the construction, putting that off and how much more it's cost the county. Just in 2025 alone for our area, construction costs have gone up 7.35% in 2025. And that's not including the cost of raw materials that's starting to skyrocket in early 2026. So putting this off another however many years will obviously inflate the overall cost of the project to a substantial amount, upwards of 10 to 15%. When we're talking about technological upgrades, the center is at a point right now where we have a lot of our infrastructure, almost all of it, needs to be replaced within the next 3 years. That doesn't happen often with our maintenance contracts because everything is on either a 10 or a 5 or some of them are even a 3-year maintenance contract. The timing is working out really well for us to bundle all of these upgrades at once. So, for example, if we were to put in a new phone system, which needs to be done next year, if we were to move within that maintenance contract, we have to purchase all of the equipment again and then re-enter that contract. So if we were to move forward now, it will, with the upgrades in the existing center, if we were to build a center later, then we just have to buy it all again.
Just real quick,
Yeah.
why do we have to buy the equipment again?
Because when they will only allow us, they will only guarantee the equipment on the initial install. They won't guarantee it on a move. That's what I've been told.
So they wouldn't move it for us?
No, they will not.
And what are they guaranteeing with the install?
Our maintenance agreement. So they won't maintain the equipment if we move it again.
Okay.
Financially, these are rough numbers that I was given from Motorola. They're currently working on giving me 2 separate quotes. The first one is the cost without any sort of discounts for each of the upgrades that need to happen. And in the new building, all of what is here, what you see on the screen, is what we would be upgrading, replacing and upgrading, including our 911 call handling, our radio consoles, the dispatch furniture, our long-term recorder, new radio tower, our mass notification system, and then our Spillman Flex subscription, our CAD program, which they've given me, again, it's a rough estimate of $7.3 million. As I said, just coming up in the next few years, all of this equipment is going to need to be replaced. 911 call handling, there's a push from the state to upgrade our equipment to increase our interoperability throughout the state. It's a fantastic program. I'm very behind it, and it's very good for our region. But that needs to occur this next year, one way or another. Our long-term recorder is timed out. We are pushing our maintenance off on that and our replacement, but it is old and they've only told us they'll give us 1 more year on it, and we've already extended it 2 years as it is, so it does need to be replaced. Our consoles the maintenance contract is up in 2029, so that will have to be replaced. Our furniture is 10 years old, a little more than 10. So it's worn out, and that stuff also needs to be replaced. And our Flex subscription, that's our CAD program, which I believe that that needs to be renegotiated. It's not equipment, it's just a subscription. But if we're willing to bundle everything to get together, they'll give us discounts on each one of those items. So this is what I've been told. You can actually go to the next slide. What I've been told from them, and again, I'm waiting for the actual quote, is that we would be looking at saving about $2.3 million. They've assured me that they can get the price down from 7.3 down below $5 million. I have a letter that I'd be more than happy to share with you that I got late last night from Motorola explaining the cost savings. Now that discounted price at roughly $5 million, part of that would include upfront costs for the build, which I will know when I get the quote from Motorola. But the remainder, and I'm expecting that to be around $2 million. That could be adjusted depending on our financial situation, but the remainder of it would be over 5-year agreements and installments for our maintenance plans. So if we do pay the $2 million up front, the other $3 million could be paid over various contracts. And I would prefer to keep it all the same so that we're not stuck with one vendor by having overlapping maintenance contracts, because some of this stuff is dependent on, our long-term recorder is dependent on our CAD, and our 911 is dependent on our consoles, and everything's intertwined. So if we can get it on the same rotation, it will give us the opportunity to shop more. And because we are in the position now where we're looking at replacing everything, we've been able to shop around. And then that's how I was able to bundle all of this and get the $2 million discount. So that would be my recommendation if we could. But it's a huge cost savings for the county if we were to move forward now. But with that, that's kind of where we're at. And again, I wish I had more concrete numbers. I've been with quotes, but I was told that I will have all of that before April 1st, and I'd be more than happy to share that with you when I get it. But that's basically where we're at.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yes, does that mean all the equipment will come due at the same time again?
That's the hope. I know it's a big bill, but when it's come due at the same time, we can shop around and we can choose what's best for us as opposed to being put in a corner from one vendor over another. The things like the furniture can be pushed out. We can put our CAD program, we can extend that out. So there's definitely things that we can play with, but my recommendation would be to just keep it on the same rotation.
And how many years will we need to do this again?
Historically, it's about 5 years. So, but I've also heard contracts going out as far as 10. They recommend 5 years, but in all reality, some of this equipment can be pushed out, the maintenance on it. Just when you're talking about technology and upgrades, it's obsolete within a year after you buying it. So trying to stay on top of current trends is ideal for something important like a 911 system.
Okay. And some of the 911 fees will go to pay for this?
The technology costs would be 911. All of that can be covered under the 911 fee under the statute.
How much?
How much for?
How much are we going to get from that 911 fee to cover this expense?
Well, we've been pulling in about $1.4 million after we remit to Post Falls in the state of Idaho.
So will that be the 1.4 million per year that will go to this, or is this something?
We also have other maintenance agreements, like all of our tower sites. We have lease agreements with various companies for tower locations. We have our current maintenance agreements that we're paying on, so some of that will be reallocated towards this.
So how much will be available from 911 fees to pay for your proposal?
Again, I'll have to look at all of this when I actually get the yearly quote, but right now we're paying just under $900,000 in maintenance agreements and lease agreements. So as long as we keep it under that, we should be fine. But I won't know exactly until I get that quote, but my assumption is that it will cover it.
Brandi, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, Brandi Falcon for the record. I was just going to say that we've looked at the E911 fund balance, and currently there's about 1.2 million in there, and that fund balance accumulates by maybe $700,000 to $800,000 a year right now, because the county gives over $1 million of our 911 revenue to the city of Post Falls every year. So the county's portion that we are netting after what we're already paying out of there is between 700,000 and 800,000 a year. So we'd probably have to, see the current expenditures go way down, and I don't know how we'd get to, $1 million a year. Jeff will have to look at that with like the new contracts and that type of stuff, so.
All right, well, that'll be important to see what those fees can contribute to your proposal. Commissioner Eberline, do you have any questions at this point? The one question I have is, I know we're in this building that, we're talking about leaving, but at 8.5 million for a new building, what can we get if we were to do something with that existing building? Can we sell that building first if you move 911 out?
I imagine it's assessed at $1.6 million, so.
But can we sell it? Will we be able to sell it?
Well, the city of Coeur d'Alene has that fertilizer plant right next door, so it smells like fertilizer. Not 100% sure what they do there, but so I imagine the city of Coeur d'Alene would probably be interested in it. I also know that there's other pieces of property that surround us. It's essentially a bunch of trailer parks that are right around our piece of property, and some of those trailer parks have been up for sale. So I don't know if a developer would be interested in purchasing a large plot and then redeveloping it for something else,
But we could sell it, though.
we could. I don't have any need to keep it. It would be nice to keep it as a backup center, but I also understand where we're at financially, and we have agreements with Post Falls and ISP to use them as backups. So, and some of this infrastructure that we're talking about, the upgrades that we're talking about, would allow us to go anywhere in the state to be a backup. So the need to have a hard backup center locally is diminished. It's not necessary.
Okay, and then, but as far as any kind of money that we could put into the existing building to make it, a good place?
The problem with the current building is that, well, one, it's really old. So prior directors and prior administrations with the sheriff's office have looked into remodeling it, and you can't remodel it without shutting down the center. We can do little things on the inside, but once we start tearing in the walls, we have to shut operations down. We can't do that as a 911 center. Also, we're trying to consolidate as much as we can and then get as much of county assets into one location. By moving to OEM, I know it was brought up, moving the center to the jail, which would make sense, but because there's a tower there. But moving to OEM, we've had so many critical incidents where 911 and Office of Emergency Management have had to work together, but they can't because they're separated by distance. Putting them together will provide the county and every citizen a huge resource by increasing the communication to the public much quicker, providing resources to first responders, on a critical incident a lot quicker, staging grounds for incoming units. There's a lot that we would benefit by moving up to that piece of property. Just operationally, I mean, there's not like a bunch of numbers for me to be able to show you just because we don't have them, but around the country, everybody is starting to, most of these agencies are trying to turn OEM and 911 into one group that's working together. And that's what I'm trying to do up here.
So other agencies in the state, that's what they're doing?
Oh, around the country. I know the other agencies in the state work really close with OEM, but throughout the entire state, people are having trouble finding money for 911 centers as well. So I'm not aware of any in the state that are working together, but
Meaning proximity-wise?
proximity-wise.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. They work together, but being in the same building, I'm not aware of any. Not saying it's not true, but.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions, comments? All right, thank you. We'll move on to item number 3, jail overtime analysis discussion, and Brandi Falcon.
Morning, Commissioners. Brandi Falcon for the record. I just have this agenda item on here to get board's direction on me helping the sheriff's office come up with some analysis on their overtime budget.
Thoughts on this? The only thing I can kind of add to this is that I don't have a problem with anyone helping the sheriff's office try to get a handle on their budget. I think what's just important is that whatever number the sheriff's office gives us, it's the sheriff's office's number and it's not your number. If they decide to use your numbers, that's their prerogative, but it's their number. And so that's kind of how I see it, is that, that way it's not the budget director giving us a number. It's the sheriff's office giving us a number that is for their budget.
So is there a lot of analysis that needs to be done? Is that what you're helping with?
Well, I've done my own version and I'm meeting with the sheriff's office tomorrow morning, but in my mind, there's always a caveat and a limitation to whatever I do because I don't know how to run a jail. And so I'm just going to discuss with the sheriff's office my perspective and just ask some questions, but hopefully they'll bring back to the board their own budget estimate.
Okay.
Anything else? All right. Item 4, Hayden Charter School Resource Officer Contract. Brandi Falcon.
I was hoping Lieutenant Headland would be here, but he has requested that the board give direction that the Hayden Canyon Charter contract remain the same amount as it was last year, which I believe is $133,153. And that's because they're using grant funding to pay the county. And from what I gather from the sheriff's office, the school and the sheriff's office would like to keep that dollar amount the same, which is higher than what we are charging the other schools. So the county would get more money.
It's okay with me.
That's fine.
And if I may add, for the record, Under Sheriff Brett Nelson, in speaking with the superintendent, Lieutenant Headland informed me that the superintendent is fully aware that, if you will, our figure is lower than theirs, but the money would be left on the table for the school. They can't utilize it for anything else. And they're fully aware that this is a 3-year grant and that they knew that they want to come forward like the other school districts and negotiate a new contract with the overhead costs that were presented to everyone else.
Okay.
So basically, if we do this contract amount of $133,000, that would equate to them paying the 70% of a deputy, just like the other schools, their share of overtime, plus 33.5% of overhead is what that basically works out to, so in comparison to the other schools. And if you're okay with that, we can move forward.
I am.
It's fine.
Okay.
There you go.
The school is amenable to it, then, yep.
Anything else? Nothing? Thank you. Next up is executive session, but I'm going to put public comment in up front. Come on down.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ron Hartman for the record. I'm very interested to learn more about the 911 fees. How are we collecting them? I just got a sinking feeling that I'm subsidizing something. We're finding subsidizing from you name it, whether it's transit, whether it's Hayden law enforcement, whether it's school resource officers. This just seems like another area that we're supplementing the cost. And I'd like to have a better breakout and make sure that the fees are fair and that we're not subsidizing stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Anybody on the telephone? No? I'll take a motion to enter into executive session.
I move that we enter into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 742061D.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye. 11:04, I'll take a motion to exit executive session.
I move that we exit executive session with staff to proceed as discussed.
Second.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. 11:04, meeting adjourned.